will spice things up, shake things up if that's what we need. And frankly, we all do. I think the number one thing we hear, and it's not about an individual woman, is what we've been trained, is that, oh, we don't need it. Oh, we don't need it. We've just been trained that that's how we should think about it. Well, we don't need mascara either. And we don't need lipstick either, but it does improve our lives. It does make things better. And it will improve your experience in the bedroom.
I'm Rachel, and you're listening to the Owning Your Sexual Self podcast. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Owning Your Sexual Self. I have another wonderful, wonderful guest on with me today, Catherine Magee. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm so excited to have you all the way from San Diego, even though it's rainy today.
No, thank you for having me. I love talking about all of these subjects.
Yes, all things sexual health. That's the original intro to the show. That's what it said. I'm like, if you like talking about all things sex, like, let's fucking do this, because that is my jam. And I love to get on and just riff with other people around these things. And you're doing something really unique, as we were just talking about off screen, co-founding the company called Playground and having that background in the beauty industry and a little bit of that direct sales experience too. So tell us a little bit about just in general, like how did you even get in the sexual health industry?
Certainly. So I've spent the majority of my career in the beauty industry, sales, marketing, product development. One of the reasons I've always loved this category is because it focused so much on women, but really it focused on having women feel like really building their confidence and feeling beautiful and, doing all these great things for people while not being, taking it too seriously. So as I started looking into other categories, I started looking in sexual wellness, particularly personal lubricants. And I just couldn't believe what a difference. Here we are trying to create beautiful brands and beautiful products that improve women's beauty and wellness and make them feel confident. And this category doesn't do that at all. In fact, every time we talk to somebody and they talk about that experience of going down the aisle in the supermarket or wherever, they feel ashamed, as if something is wrong with them. And we just said, this is not the case. We need to change that. So we, myself, my business partner, both come from the beauty world, and we said, okay, let's just risk it all and go do something in a category that, really should be for women, and let's make them feel amazing to use our product.
Yes. And I love that. In talking with other people from your company, Dr. Matthews, like, you also have medical professionals on staff. So it's not just this conversation of let's think a product that is going to, really sell off the shelves and sell well. It's, you have the client interest at heart. And what I love that you said mostly is that pleasure is included in that, because so often, I just think of going to the gynecologist, right? And the lube that they use at the gynecologist, not pleasure center, not pleasure focused at all. I feel like I'm wiping that away for like days and days afterwards. So tell us a little bit. You were mentioning before we started recording about ingredients and stuff, and why including certain things is so important to you.
Absolutely. I don't think when we started Playground a couple of years ago, we knew we were going to be doing something so different and so innovative. The products on the market today they've been around for, I would say some of these products have been around longer than women could even vote, and they haven't changed much. And we said, when you wear foundation, we also want it to be healthy for your skin. We also want it to protect from the sun. Why can't we create a product that's lubricating and moisturizing and silky, but also good for the vagina? And that's where we decided, we're going to hire our own chemists and actually create this from scratch. And then what we've learned through this process, even more than, when we were just consumers, is this connection, overlap between sexual pleasure and sexual health. And how, yes, women are like, I'm using a lubricant because I feel like I need it. But the fact of the matter is we can all improve our sexual pleasure with using this product. And by improving our sexual pleasure, we're actually improving our reproductive health and, and stats that we can drill down into. But also just from a well-being perspective, like Dr. Matthews talks so much. She says the minute somebody comes into my office and talks about the physical side, we immediately start with the emotional side and your experience in the bedroom.
Yeah. And I think including the pleasure focus on this too is going to make people, women particularly, more apt to using a product like that, right? If it's something, and sexual health, we know sexual pleasure is something that so many people struggle with on a day-to-day basis. So when you're producing these products that can help enhance pleasure for them, they're going to be more likely to use those things if they're having positive outcomes from it, right?
Right. So definitely want people to have a great experience using the product. But then the other thing that we know, it becomes so obvious when we talk about it, when the two of us get on this call and talk about it, is there's been so much stigma and taboo around this category and around this product. And that's what's holding everybody back. And, when you look at it like, oh, wait, this actually improves the moisture of your vagina. We have ingredients that help maintain a pH balance, that there's a lot of real health and wellness issues to do it. It improves your libido, your relationship. When you think about it from that, and then you reflect on our history and say, oh my gosh, why has the world made us feel bad for using this product? And so I think that's why I'm so excited to come on podcasts and talk with people about this and talk to you about it, because we really shouldn't have that stigma, but it's still, we were born with it. It's thrown in our face as women all the time. We shouldn't be celebrating pleasure in the bedroom when it's just one of the most natural, important things that in everyday things that humans do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And finding pleasure in every day, not even just that sexual pleasure. I talk a lot about living a pleasure-filled life and just doing those things that bring you joy and happiness on a daily basis. I mean, and orgasms are part of that category, right? And so we would just all be better humans if we were just more happy and those endorphins were flowing and, all that good stuff.
Right. And then, I think the psychology totally is there. We know that if we can remove these stigmas and have this pleasure and wellness point of view that you just brought up, that we are like, there's a health and wellness benefit to that for sure.
Yeah. And so
that we have to get out of our own heads about the stigma part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, talking about stigma, so you came from the beauty industry, as you said, you were with L'Oreal, you were with Rodan and Fields, you were with was it Cosmetics, or there was another one, Bare Minerals?
The Balm Cosmetics, and also, yes, Bare Minerals, Bare Essentials.
So many different companies within this industry. So what was the transition like for you then when you decided, hey, now I'm going to go into this sexual health industry, like more the sexual side of it? I'm just curious, mostly for personal curiousness, but what was that like for you?
That's a great question. Because there was a difference. So let's say I decided I wanted to go launch a beauty business. I could go talk about it with my friends and ideate with them, or go to the store or talk to investors, and nobody would have a problem with the conversation. But the fact of the matter is I had to go out and build a brand and build a product and not tell anyone about it, because until they saw what we were doing and they saw our vision, they were going to think, oh, Catherine, what are you doing? I've told people this, but I didn't even tell my own parents for a very long time. So just because whether we admit it or not, people just look down still on this category. But what that has done is actually made me even more passionate and believe that what we're doing is important, because while initially I was always a little bit, oh no, what are people going to think? Now I'm come full circle and said, bring it on, because it's too important, and I'm not going to let other women feel the way people have made me feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can relate so much with that. And I mentioned, being with Pure Romance for 8 years. That's really how my world in the sex industry and sex world got started, was when I joined that company. And same, people are always going to have their opinions and the stigmas around, what it is that you're selling, or the conversations that you're having, the education that you're giving. But it is so important. And why would you say, for women's sexual wellness, why do you think that it is so important that we are having these conversations and giving this type of education?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important. Oh my gosh, a loaded question, but I think it's important for various reasons. Let's hope I remember them. One is, you'd already said this, sort of the pleasure gap, that it's just a fact of the matter that our response in the bedroom is different than men. I kind of say men are like a light switch. They can just be turned on and off so quickly. And yet women, we're just more complex and sophisticated. It's like our vagina went to Harvard and got a degree. And it just needs more wooing, and more attention. But that's just sort of the fact of the matter is, and unless we're willing to like step up and talk about it, and talk with our friends about it, we're not going to solve that. And in fact, most men would love for women to kind of explore and discuss that conversation. So I think that's really important. I really do think it's important from a relationship perspective. We kind of always say, oh, women, we've got to go to the gym and we've got to work, and then we have kids, and then, oh my God, the gym. And then we just get so overwhelmed in our life, and we put this on the back burner because it's hard and it affects our intimate relationship. And then thirdly, which I think is more relevant today, is that anything about a woman's sexual reproductive organs, or really any of our sex organs, they're just sort of neglected and nobody wants to talk about it. And so this is a small way to kind of join that conversation, and really say, hey, we create babies and we have periods every month. This is a big part of our life. It is so important from a health perspective in general.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can participate in that conversation and have more women talk about it and really communicate it as about sexual wellness and health, it helps that overall conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how you believe in it. But as women, we experience these issues every month, and we should be allowed to fix them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've always said, I wish that one day talking about sex can be as normal as talking about the weather, that we can try to rid this taboo of having these conversations and asking these questions, and just creating a container for where people, it's not even just women, just people to ask questions about their sexual health. Men that are early in age that are experiencing erectile dysfunction or symptoms related to that, right? Not speaking up to their doctors, just hoping that that's going to go away, or women that are having pain with sex that are scared to ask their doctor, or, and oftentimes I find that women and men, they're going to people that are not the experts, right? Like maybe a friend, for instance, and maybe a friend is going to give them some bad advice, or be like, oh, that happens to me too, and so now they think that it's normal that this is happening to them. And it's like having the right amount of people out there. And I do feel that this industry, like people like ourselves that are pro sexual health, I do feel this industry is blooming. I went through an educational program for sex therapy and sex education. That's a program that runs every year, so they have a cohort of probably 30 plus people in there. And then I transitioned into sex coaching, and my business coach, she runs a program for people that are interested in becoming sex coaches. So it is, I think, something that is growing, and that warms my heart to know that, because there are more and more people that I see popping up, especially in the social media world and podcasting world, that are starting to have these conversations. And I think we are just such a great resource for people. If they are a little bit nervous to come and ask somebody in person, at least we have podcasts and Instagram reels and things like that people can go and get information from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things that we've definitely stood up and said more is that for some reason, women think they're very unique in these issues. But the fact of the matter is, it's the most common issue that we all share. So we did a massive survey, anonymous survey to over 10,000 women across the country, and 60% of them experience pain with intercourse on a monthly basis. Maybe it's their period, maybe it's menopause. Postpartum women experience this extremely. Then also the women who have just arousal issues. And, compare that, I think, men are joining us in this conversation, but compared to men, only 2% of men experience pain with intercourse. Mm-hmm. So, it's so common between us. And we shouldn't look at this as, oh, it's about sex, it's about wellness. And if we care about wellness, mm-hmm. then we care to fix our problems proactively. Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually a huge big change that is creating a blooming category of women who are saying, I'm not going to just suffer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to proactively improve this as part of my overall wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. And one way that I think that this can become easier for people, and I'm sure that you can give us some tips on this, but making your sexual health a part of your daily routine or a part of your daily thoughts, really what's happening, whether that be pleasure focused or more, health conscious. But how, and again, you come from the beauty industry. And so when you're talking with women about skincare, let's say, right, we know consistency is key with anything that we use, consistency is key. So how does that conversation look similar when we think of it in terms of sexual health?
Love that question, because it's something we think about every day, not necessarily that we can put on our website today, but down the road. I think number one, let's focus on the pleasure challenge. We know through various studies and statistics, our chief sexologist is Dr. Emily Morse, that lubricant improves orgasm because you're just reducing any kind of friction, right? Also, using lubricant decreases your chances of having a urinary tract infection. Over 80% of urinary tract infections are correlated with sexual intercourse. So for either one of those reasons, it's an easy and now available product to try and bring into the bedroom. We have different essences that have different scents. There's other brands that do these beautiful intimacy oils, and try them out. Just experiment. Just the idea of going, I'm going to try something new, it will shake things up. And then what happens is that becomes part of your repertoire, and it will help create more of a weekly or a daily habit.
Yeah. And when I'm talking with people about lubricant, as you said, it's such an important part of, it can be an important part of daily life. So for women, that are experiencing dryness on a regular basis, I recommend a water-based lubricant for them to use as a moisturizer, and then typically silicone, depending on the situation, for then intercourse. But inserting lube, if you're experiencing dryness, on a daily basis, just as you would put on your eye cream or just as you would do shampoo in your hair, and I think we are all creatures of habit. So when you can get into the habit of that thing, or get into the habit even of saying some positive sexual affirmations to yourself in the mirror, and body positive affirmations to yourself in the mirror, right? These are all just easy things that people can do to, again, make sexual health a focus of their day-to-day life.
And I love the comparison that you made to beauty, right? Because when we take 2 minutes to get up in the morning or before we go on a date and put on a little bit of lipstick and a little bit of mascara, we immediately feel better about ourselves. We're immediately focused on ourselves. And I think by using lubricant products or other sort of sensual body oils, for example, you're creating that time for yourself to have that attention. And I love what you said about using these products, because they will inherently help you improve moisture over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And are there any things in particular that you feel the beauty industry has taught us when it comes to sexual health?
What I think the beauty industry does is I think it's a great roadmap of where this category should go. I often compare it to mascara. When mascara companies don't say, oh, your eyelashes are brittle and dry and they look terrible, they say, wear mascara. It'll make your eyelashes thicker and it'll make you feel beautiful and confident. That message is what the beauty industry, the good brands are communicating. And that is not happening in this category. This product is going inside a woman's body, right? More so than a man. We don't have, I always say like your skin products, they absorb 60% of everything that you put on your face. Your vagina is the most absorbent area of your entire body, even more than your mouth. So, you're going to absorb those ingredients. It's important that you think about what you put inside of you and think about it from that pleasure and wellness perspective.
Yeah, such a great comment for people to hear. Absolutely. And I would love to hear a little bit more about your products at Playground. So is it primarily lubricants that you're offering, or is there a variety of things that you offer?
So we consider ourselves a science-based sexual wellness company. And so our first line of products are libido enhancing clean personal lubricants, and that we will, we have a pipeline of other type of sexual wellness products that really do both the sexual pleasure and health and wellness side of it. We think that's very important. But our first line is water-based. It's all plant-based, but we use a lot of active plant-based ingredients. We have 6 ingredients that aren't in any other lubricant out there. We used a lot of our skincare R&D and research to develop this. We also, the one big difference for our water-based brand is a little goes a long way. We use an ingredient that's a silicone-like plant-based ingredient, because we know women, well, what do we want? We don't like it sticky. We don't like to reapply. We want it to last a long time. And we thought that's what was not happening. We weren't seeing that on the category to date. So it's nice, and it all comes with their own special essence. I don't like to use the word scent because it's not a scent. It's definitely not a fragrance, but it has a hint of an essence, because smell, if I don't know if everybody knows this, but it's your number one sense that you use in the bedroom.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So all of your 5 senses are heightened when you're in the bedroom, but for men and women, smell is subconsciously a really, really important part of it. And that's why for us to bring in products that don't smell good, it's a detractor, because our senses are so heightened. We really wanted to, introduce, we have Mini Escape. It has an essence of coconut and sandalwood. Date Night, an essence of champagne and vanilla. So everybody can kind of find the ones they like, or multiple ones, because it is kind of like ooh, that's nice. So it goes back into, I don't really believe in just promoting Playground. I'm much more a believer in promoting the category, but really just like trying different things for fun. I think is we'll spice things up, shake things up, if that's what we need. And frankly, we all do. I think the number one thing we hear, and it's not about an individual woman, is what we've been trained, is that, we don't need it. We don't need it. We've just been trained that that's how we should think about it. Well, we don't need mascara either. And we don't need lipstick either, but it does improve our lives. It does make things better. And it will improve your experience in the bedroom.
Such a great comparison. And I agree. I hear from a lot of women that the idea is that we only need lubricant if we're experiencing dryness. And I've been educated that, with any sort of penetration to the vagina, there's that microtearing that's occurring. So whether or not you feel that or not, we really should be using lubricant with any sort of penetration to the vagina, whether that's a tampon, a finger, a penis, a vibrator, And so I'm
saying I'm so excited about your conversation, because I don't think most people know that. And the more you talk about it, the more that they know. And that's what we say too. Like any discomfort or friction is creating these micro tears because it's not skin. It's very, very delicate and thin mucous membranes. That is how we get urinary tract infections and yeast infections. And so that lubricant really solves that. And I think that's important for women to know. Also, our moisture changes every month. Before period, during period, after period. So it's not like again, every single woman on this planet, hormones actively change. Your estrogen goes up and down, and that actively changes the moisture in the vagina. And I also say 100% of women go through menopause. 100%. Like talk about what other thing can we all say that we all experience?
Yeah, life and death. Right? Like,
exactly.
That's
life,
it. Life,
death, and menopause. And vaginal dryness.
Yeah, such a good point. Yeah, I'm very excited that we've had this conversation today. I'm excited to learn more about Playground. I am likely going to go and get some of these lubricants for myself because lube is life. That is like one of my sayings. I have it printed on a t-shirt for this podcast. It's part of the podcast swag, but yeah, lubricant is something that I feel like I talk about on a daily basis with clients and customers and people that come to me. And it's such a simple thing that we can add to our experiences that can make such a difference in both pain and pleasure.
Yeah. And not that this theme is about comparing it to beauty, but I feel like that's been really fun. And there's so much there. Women are so comfortable talking about beauty products, right? YouTube videos, word of mouth, TikToks, it's just so prevalent. However, more women experience vaginal dryness, have issues in the bedroom, and it's one of the top 3 issues a woman has with her partner. So much more than beauty, and yet we don't talk about it. So I think, how can we swap that? How can we create an environment and a community on social media where we're comfortable about talking all of those things, right? It's how do we improve our experience in the bedroom? How do we improve our libido? How does the changing hormones in our body impact libido? What do we need to know about it? And how do we talk to our partner? And we can talk about blowjobs. I think this should be really fun for us. And I love that you are trying to lead the charge on all of those conversations.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And when we were talking a little bit about couples earlier, and I'm curious, with your lubricants, are there any that you would recommend that if not all of them, would men be able to use your products as well? Or are there some versus others that you would recommend for men to use?
That is a great question. So first of all, Playground products are for everybody. They're just specially formulated for vaginas because vaginas have just reproductive organs. There's just so much more complexity to them. And we just wanted to be really thoughtful about that. So, but what I say is if it's safe for a vagina, then it's safe for everything. It's water-based, it's latex safe, it's toy safe. And again, having this silicone like bamboo extract ingredient makes it that we really wanted to build it so that if you were younger and maybe you didn't need so much, can use a very little, but maybe if you're at a moment in your life, postpartum, whatever, and you need a little bit more, then it's going to really function that way. And then I will tell you this, we get tons of feedback from men because they're like, oh my gosh, it feels so good. They're the first ones to say it. They're like, oh, it makes me feel even better. And I'm like, and that's been so funny because I expect it to be better for women because I just have this stereotype in my head that men always have a good time. But so to even know that it's increasing their pleasure has been really great to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there are, in working with men as well, the things that I hear that sometimes they're using to masturbate with, spit for one, which we know dries up very quickly and is actually not very hygiene friendly. I've been told by a person that they've used Neosporin to masturbate, like just wild things. And so, yeah, I'm sure. And for men too, we know that the penis is so porous, and so it's going to absorb moisture very, very quickly. And so personally, I usually don't recommend water-based things. I would say more emollient-based or silicone-based. And so to hear that your water-based line though has that silicone component to it, I think that that's wonderful. It sounds more like a hybrid type of lubricant. And yeah, when working with couples too, or in working with women or men, and hearing how the male partners are responding to the use of lubricant, sometimes they have that like, oh, why do you need that? Or, don't I turn you on? Don't I make you wet enough? And I'm hoping from listening to us these last 30 minutes, you understand that it has nothing to do with you. And so many couples do find sex more enjoyable when they are using lubricants.
I 100% agree with everything that you said. And now I'm now on the business side of it, and I just hear stereotypes, right? Like we're trying to, just like in all other areas of our life and culture, trying to break down stereotypes or understand when we're creating a stereotype. And that's what we're doing in this category as well. Yeah, because men feel like maybe they're doing something wrong as well. And that's definitely not the case.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been such a refreshing conversation, Catherine. Thank you again so much for coming on. And if people are interested in finding you or finding Playground, what is the best way for people to contact you?
Oh, great. Well, our website is helloplayground.com, and our Instagram handle is hello.playground. And yeah, I mean, we're here for the conversation. I always say we take our products very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. We say we're up for fun, down for anything. Nice girls finish first. So yeah, come connect with us.
I love that. Well, thank you again so much. It was great having you on, and I look forward to just collaborating and talking with you guys more in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you loved it, be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you really fucking loved it, make sure to tag me on social media at @TheRachelMain. I'll see you next week.